Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Some very interesting, weird, crazy things happening in the cryptocurrency space. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Reports on social media indicate that banks in India are threatening customers that deal in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies with the closure of their bank accounts. The move is the latest salvo from the banking industry in a country where crypto seems to be all but banned. On Friday, the 11th of January, Morgan Creek founder and partner Anthony Pompliano published a tweet called from sources in India about the latest move by banks in India to prevent Bitcoin trading. According to the tweet, banks sent out warnings telling their customers not to deal in crypto or risk the closure of their accounts. Here's the actual tweet of it for those who are or may be looking at the screen. The notice even declared that banks need not send any further correspondence before closing customer accounts. Palm's tweet came directly from another Twitter user named Indian Crypto Girl, who commented on the situation by saying, and I do quote, "Indian banks now forcefully taking permissions from us to reserve the right to close our account without further intimation. Okay, if we deal in cryptocurrency transactions, ability to decide what to do with our own money is the very reason we need to invest." She wrote biddle and believe in hashtag Bitcoin. Before continuing any further, I have an issue with kind of all of it. What I think is the weirdest part is that we've gotten to a point. India has stated many times before that cryptos inside of their country are not banned. However, there are certain, usually up until this point, what we've had is that the Indian government or the Central Bank of India has announced that cryptos are dangerous. Cryptos are used by criminals. Cryptos are used by so-and-so. Don't touch cryptocurrencies unless you want to be one of these people. And now the fact that banks are completely allowed to close any person's account, simply because they are dealing with or have touched cryptocurrencies without any further correspondence. For those who may not be native English speakers, it pretty much means that they don't have to send you any information. They can simply, if they see the word Bitcoin on your account, they can simply just close your account. That's absolutely completely insane. We saw this in a number of other countries, even the United States in 2017 and 2018, where people had their bank accounts, their actual bank accounts, closed or frozen, which I think was even worse in some situations. Like, it's the fact that, if I don't know, have this thing about like accounts being frozen and you not being able to get money out during an emergency. It's very weird. I mean, if your account is closed as well, that's kind of the same exact thing. But simply because banks in America were seeing the word Coinbase on people's bank statements, which is kind of weird. I don't think anyone should have access to your bank statements except for you. My own personal ideas. Anyway, the point is people were buying from Coinbase. They were buying from, I think we maybe only had Coinbase and maybe one or the two other places where people were able to buy cryptocurrencies at that time. And people had their accounts completely shut down or frozen because the word Coinbase appeared on their banking statements, meaning not even the word Bitcoin. It was that there was an association with Coinbase and therefore your account had to be completely destroyed. There are also similar reports of ATM screens belonging to Kotak Mahindra Bank. According to Indian Crypto Girl, the bank has even made good on its threat. In an update on the situation on this Saturday, the bank issued a notice of account closure for doing transactions involving cryptocurrencies. I assume, here's the actual message of people having their account shut down simply because they were touching cryptocurrencies. Continuing on, unsurprisingly, the reaction on social media has been one of outrage, with many saying Bitcoin is all but banned in India. In 2018, the Reserve Bank of India, or the RBI, the country's apex bank, prohibited banks from facilitating cryptocurrency transactions. It's a very odd situation. I have lost a lot of hope as to if this is going to actually be resolved anytime soon, especially in 2019. The RBI had noted in the end of 2017 that they were going to work on cryptocurrency regulations, and then I think sometime the first couple of months of 2018, the Bank of India had noted that they were working on cryptocurrency regulations and that they would have them, I think, by the end of spring. That then turned to the summertime. Summertime turned to, I think, the end of August. August turned to the end of October, which was like the actual time. There was I can't remember if it was their parliament. I don't remember exactly what the situation was, but some higher ups said that this would be the final deadline. At the end of October, we had to have some type of proper information. And I remember November 1st was like a very big moment for a lot of people. We were waiting for this announcement as to what was going to happen. And then the end of October turned into December, and now December has turned into sometime in 2019. No, I have my own opinions as to exactly what's going on. If you want to know, since it's the weekend, why not? Let's talk about it. I think this is correlating to a lot of other things that we see around the world. It could just be speculation, obviously, but my thought always goes back to the major financial institutions around the world who are getting into Bitcoin, talking about cryptocurrencies, launching their own cryptocurrency trading desks, making their own custody platforms, making something so that people can trade Bitcoin futures or ETFs or whatever the case might be. I think India is very afraid of a couple of things. I think they're afraid of being left behind, and I think they're afraid of being left further behind. And I'll explain as far as being left behind. And I thought for quite some time that a lot of countries are waiting for the announcement from the US as to decide as to exactly how they're going to handle cryptocurrencies within their country. I think that's all but clarified at this point. I think it's fairly obvious that all these different countries who we're talking about giving us some type of information as to exactly what was going to happen have all backtracked. There's like 15 different countries. They've backtracked multiple times throughout 2018, and it seems like they're waiting for the SEC to kind of say something. And when I say being left even further behind, is that the same situation that we have with China and Russia and many other countries who have tight capital controls over their own country. We saw, I'm not, time is moving really fast. I'm not sure anymore if it's actually the end of 2017 or was it, no, I'm pretty sure it was 2017, where India got rid of some of their larger denominations of their actual banknotes, and it caused a huge thing in their country because they said they were doing it to try and protect people, and then they came out and said that they were doing it to try and stop money laundering within their country. So I think India is in the position right now where they're trying to make themselves a world leader, but they really don't exactly know how to do it. I feel like they, in my opinion, I'm not an economic leader guru by any means necessary. I just read a lot. I watch as many things on the news. I watch documentaries. India is an enormously large country. They have an enormous amount of people living there, and they're trying to make it so that they kind of become the new China, if that makes a lot of sense. They want to be a global economic power, and I feel like that they think that they may be on the cusp of doing this, but at this point, you can't really make any or many mistakes when trying to do so, i.e. if they put out the wrong type of regulation for cryptocurrencies and another country has a more favorable one, they're going to be losing money. If they decide that cryptos are legal in their country and other countries decide that they're legal 3.5 or 4 weeks later, India then has to backtrack, and they end up kind of having pie in their face where they kind of go, oh yeah, that was a joke. We've been deliberating for 2 or 3 years, but just so turns out, yeah, it's actually not banned. It's totally allowed here. I think they're trying to tiptoe around the situation a bit too much. And I mean, it's also another situation where, once again, that we keep talking about, this new world, this new digitized world is nothing that many governments, I think, were prepared for, wanted, or even want right now, or maybe still trying to fight against, regardless of how fruitful, I think I'm hungry, that actually might be. As far as when you have countries that decree that they have complete control over your capital, what you do with your money, where it goes, and how it functions, and you have a situation where if you allow something like Bitcoin, like Litecoin, like Zcash, like Monero, like Dash, like Beam or Grin in your country, if you kind of open the floodgates and say all these things are completely welcome, you're always going to have a situation where people are going to make sure that their transactions are private in some sort of way. One of the other things that I thought was pretty interesting when you look into the actual information about India and what they're trying to do, and one of the reasons why they got rid of their larger banknotes, it came down to, they were saying that a lot of people figured, like, so the easiest way to kind of say it is that people a lot of people in India don't have access to bank accounts because, as we all know, banks don't like poor people. So if you've ever been to a neighborhood that may be stricken by poverty, regardless of where you are in the world, there you may notice there's not a bank open there. And what was happening in India for quite a long amount of time, and I mean, it's only logical, if you don't have a bank in your area, you have no place to put your money, people were taking their money, they were hoarding their money, obviously, as they would like to preserve their wealth in some sort of way, and people were transacting in bills exclusively. They refused to open up any bank accounts, and I think this had to be 2016 or something like that. At this point, they were talking about that the Indian government believed that they were missing out on like 50, 60, 70 billion dollars per year in taxable income, air quotes, that they thought that they should be receiving. So it's all kind of, you know, merging together. I'm pretty sure you get it, but it's just interesting to kind of see everything lining up. It's the situation where you're kind of, you know, it's a double-edged sword. If you allow it in your country, people are going to figure out a way to kind of circumvent because they don't have to go through the bank system that didn't like them from the very beginning. And also, if you announce, there's really no way for India to actually win in this situation. I think their only real hope, at least in my opinion, is trying to be friendly to the situation. I think they've wasted 1.5 years. If they had, during this amount of time, announced that they were going to give actual cryptocurrency rules by the middle of 2018 and had taken 6 months to diligently go through this, had fostered like a situation where they opened up, like, you know, the whole sandbox situation that we have in Russia and many other places around the world, pretty much where you create a street, an avenue or something like that, where you allow these cryptocurrency enterprises to open up, in all of them. They have to report back to the government, but the government has some type of transparency so they can see who's dealing with them, so and so and so, and foster a situation where you allow people to deal in crypto, but maybe only even through these sandbox exchanges. You still have a situation where the government can get the money that's owed to them, and also people get to deal in cryptocurrencies. But lasting this long, I have a strange inkling that the same situation that we see brewing in Venezuela and a bunch of other countries is probably happening as well in India. I don't know how big, what's it called? Almost said Bitcoin on the street. Local Bitcoin. I'm not exactly sure how large local Bitcoin actually is in India. I can only imagine that a situation like that is definitely thriving. As long as you have the internet, you have access to all these things. So I can only assume that there's a major underground situation happening right now. This is what happens when you make things illegal, when you don't allow people to do what they are going to do in the first place. If you allow everything and just make it legal, it will find a way. You know, put in certain capital controls or like certain things that will stop other people from, you know, the entire ICO situation. I totally get that. So many of these things were completely fraudulent. People lost a lot of money. BitConnect, these things do happen. So as a government, I feel like it's your job to be able to figure out what is harmful, talk to the cryptocurrency leaders. Like, imagine if they had a situation imagine a 6-month period where all the banks in India and the leaders of the governments in India had discussions with Andreas Antonopoulos, Vitalik Buterin, Charles Hoskinson, Brad Garlinghouse, all these people, and you know, six different meetings over the course of a 6-month period, once a month. Talk to them, find out exactly what's going on, and then allow all of this stuff so they can have a better understanding. But when you run away scared from things like this, first of all, I can only imagine the money that India's losing by not having opened their doors. India, if you want to, and I mean, this isn't me talking directly to the government. It's more like, imagine a country as large as India with a population as large as India. If they had allowed cryptocurrencies, if they had even embraced cryptocurrencies, if they had set up a situation where they told people in the country, we will help you open nodes, we will help you do so and so and so. How much? I don't know. I think I have a more utopian vision of the future and how things don't have to be difficult. Things can be very simple. I think governments make things very difficult because I think, typically for me, I feel like governments are constantly trying to see if things are a passing trend, if they're going to go away. I think a lot of governments definitely thought when they announced at the beginning of 2018 that they were going to ban cryptocurrencies, that this was kind of the end of it. All they had to do was swing their hammer once, hit a couple of heads, and a lot of people would kind of get out of the cryptocurrency space. We've seen crypto grow by, apparently according to news and stuff like that grow by at least like 5 to 7-fold about the amount of people who are actually interested in it, the amount of corporations and institutions who weren't here before, who have stuck with us and are still continuing to build things even as prices have gone down. They had the perfect opportunity to kind of, you could have been in one of the strongest countries in the entire world. Taking note that we know that at least one other country, and not even Russia, is actively buying and mining cryptocurrencies and also has been stealing it from other countries. Not that I agree with that part, but they're setting themselves up to be a mega financial powerhouse, which is completely insane. Anyway, just thought I'd share my thoughts on that. It's very worrying that the world that we live in doesn't see progress as something that has to happen. At some point, progress pushes itself through the door, whether you want it to or not. And I feel like in 10 years, once again, when books are written about these events, we have books written about like the very beginnings of Bitcoin and how this started and so and so and so. When we get books about the strike up to 20,000 and the subsequent fall and the events that took place during that, I think we're going to be very surprised about who actually ends up coming out in front, the countries who are going to be the largest winners in all of this. So many of them are just taking their time, and it's sad. You could be an economic powerhouse, but instead you choose to, I don't know. Imagine if India themselves announced that they would have imagine a tax reduction program if you could show that you were actually mining Bitcoin in your country, and the 80% that China controls for the Bitcoin mining power, like a huge chunk of that went over to India. Like, think of what a dynamic shift that would have been for people who were thinking about opening up a cryptocurrency, anything, or office or something like that. They'd be like, let's go to India instead, because clearly they know exactly what's going on. Just my opinion on that, but let's move on from this topic. Gonna breeze over this one slightly. Crypto payment platform known as Bitrefill has launched something called Thor, a service that allows customers to open Lightning channels on demand. Thor will connect to Bitrefill's node on the Lightning network, allowing users to receive Lightning payments whether they have Bitcoin loaded into their Lightning wallets or not. They said this service will let customers get an empty Lightning channel opened to them for Bitrefill's node on the Lightning network. Now anyone can pay for or gift the ability to have a channel opened to a Lightning wallet in order to receive payments over Lightning at any time, just according to their statement. It says what the Lightning network is. We should know at this point. It says, however, in order to receive Lightning payments, users must have a payment channel open, but I think this is actually talking about the actual thing. Yeah, so the point is that if you want to receive payments through Lightning, you have to have a payment channel open. You have to preload it with Bitcoin, and that's kind of the idea of the actual Lightning network. It says, however, with Thor, users can purchase an empty channel, potentially also for their friends or business partners with crypto. Users don't need to put up any money in the payment channels themselves, while Bitrefill maintains the channel funded on their end for 30 days. As such, you can immediately start accepting payments through Bitrefill's channel to you. For those who were wondering, I think it says payments for Thor can be made with custom capabilities for 300,000 Satoshis up to 16 million Satoshis. I think that is 0.16 Bitcoin. So it's around, what is that? $500? Somewhere around there. Two things, in my opinion, was very interesting about this, and I read over it, and I thought it was a little weird, simply because you may disagree with me, but this is how it works. The point of cryptocurrencies and the point of Bitcoin and the point of what have you, so and so and so, is that you can transact in the cryptocurrencies yourself. The world that we are slowly entering into, and this is going to be a very different world than I think a lot of Bitcoin maximalists want. But once again, it is what it is. This is how people deal. Remember it was 9 days ago at this point, we were talking about the Proof of Keys event, where people were taking their money off of cryptocurrency exchanges in order to be able to control their own private keys, having it on your computer, having it on your ledger, having it on your so-and-so paper wallet, cold storage, however people store their cryptocurrencies. A lot of people took part in this, but a lot of people did not take part in it simply because a lot of people can't be bothered. A lot of people don't want to control their own assets. A lot of people are still comfortable with a third or fourth or fifth party controlling the money that they actually have. So when you read a situation like this where there's a company who has created something that will create Lightning channels for you, I thought it was a bit odd because the idea is that you can create your own Lightning channel. However, going back to the proof of keys things, people don't want to do this. I had hoped for a future where people were more active in the money that they held or that they were trying to build or the cryptocurrencies that they had. A lot of people are very comfortable with other services doing this for them. And I think one of the main, I get annoyed that I have to say this all the time. This is not paid advertisement. I do not know BitRefill. They have never contacted me, not being paid by them. But what I think is smart about what they're doing is that these companies are targeting customers who don't want to deal with their own money, who don't want to open their own Lightning Network channels, and who have no immediate desire to be able to do anything like this themselves. So with companies like this, the same exact way with what's the other company? BitPay or something like that, the ones who like facilitate Bitcoin transactions. Logically, if you're a store or a company, you can have a QR code or a wallet on your phone that someone else who's giving you a Bitcoin payment, they can simply scan your thing and you can kind of be on your way. Lo and behold, other companies exist that you can use them as a third party to be able to send these cryptocurrencies back and forth. And I think these are going to be some of the largest companies in the entire world if Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies actually end up taking off. Because we're going to get into a situation where, for those who don't know, so typically on the Bitcoin network as we have it right now, I think transaction fees are around, I want to say like 5 cents, maybe a bit lower. And that comes out to, I think like 0.0001 Satoshi somewhere. I don't know the exact number. So it's around maybe 100,000 Satoshis, somewhere around that number. Lightning Network transaction fees on the Bitcoin network are around 1 Satoshi. I think it's like 1/1000th of a cent or something like that. So the idea is that as time goes on, should Bitcoin continue to be around in 5-10 years, as the Lightning Network is going to be the main or one of the main payment options that's kind of taking off right now, if you have a network that is allowing transactions to go through them anywhere from, where is it? 300,000 to 0.16 of a Bitcoin or 16 million Satoshis, and you have tons of payments flowing back and forth through your network, you will be receiving 1 Satoshi per payment. But if you have multiple payment channels, like this BitRefill is also doing, you could potentially be receiving 100,000, 300,000 Satoshis per day simply because of the number of transactions that you have flowing through your network. And then this also leads into the same exact question. If Bitcoin is going to potentially rise one day to some amazing, fantastical number, let's say, this could potentially end up being dropping 1-0, like 30,000 a day that they're making simply from the payment networks that they have opened up for other people. Because while things in the cryptocurrency space have gotten a lot easier, things are not as difficult as they once used to be able to send payments back and forth, to be able to open up your own thing or even create your own Lightning node. A lot of people aren't going to do it. Let's be completely honest. A lot of people even listening to this right now are probably never going to open up their own Lightning network, Lightning payment node, what have you. But I think stuff like this is very interesting. I'm still a firm believer that the Lightning Network at this point is going to be the thing that everyone is. I think 2019. I think 2019 is going to be the year of Lightning Network, simply because we've been there's been too many articles about the Lightning Network and the adoption of it and how much the nodes are growing and how many other companies like this are launching. That leads, firmly to believe that Lightning Network is probably going to be, and I hope it continues. We need like a 10x in growth from where the Lightning Network is now. Like, it's large, but if we want Bitcoin to be able to survive and be able to handle transactions during the next bull run, we need to have exchanges also announcing that the moment that we have Binance and Coinbase and a couple of other places announce that they are also allowing Lightning transactions, or rather, if you are sending stuff like back and forth between them, that is happening on Lightning, I think Bitcoin is set. But until that date, I give it like until maybe maybe like autumn, maybe to the end of this year, when we should start receiving information from the first, if the Lightning Network continues to expand this way, from the first couple of cryptocurrency exchanges who are going to announce that they're going to be sending Lightning payments back and forth. Because at that point, then Bitcoin has no real issues as far as like being accepted and stuff like that. Because yeah, you need those quick payments, but we also need I guess liquidity in the Lightning Network, and we also need the node count to rise, obviously, but also like larger payment channels. Because if we get to a situation where you can allow payments of around 0.16 Bitcoin to go through the Lightning Network, if you're trying to send payments of around like $100,000 and the price of Bitcoin ends up hitting $1 million, then 0.10 is enough that you need to be able to send that through. I hope that kind of makes sense. Probably didn't, but the point is Lightning has to continue to expand in order for a major Bitcoin price to be able to be possible without people cashing out of the network and then complaining that there's another backlog of transactions. Yeah. Next up, gonna slightly breeze over this. Yeah, so this is talking about BTCPay. Apparently the, I guess, develop open source and self-hosted Bitcoin payment processor known as BTCPay, his name is Nicolas Dorier, I assume that's how you say it, was talking about that there are going to be atomic swaps coming to BitPay, I believe, sometime this year. He spoke about, where is it? So BTCPay is actually fairly popular, what have you. He announced somewhere around here that they're going to be integrating Lightning Network payments, like I was just talking about. This is something that actually has to happen at this point. Bitcoin is far too slow for any other thing like that. He says in order for Lightning to really take off, it has to be. We need proper backup solutions for it. More reliable payments and more liquidity to route higher value payments, because we need more Bitcoin in the system. A lot of people, this isn't me talking negatively about anyone who might have a Lightning Network node or payment channel. A lot of people, when they're loading up for, like, you have to have a channel that has Bitcoin preloaded into it. So think of making like an Apple payment channel. The easiest way of kind of saying this. Let's say you take a bowl that has like 5 apples inside of it, and every single time a payment goes through, like, people can only send through 5 apples. So if you send through you have 0.01 on the Lightning Network in like a payment channel, you can accept payments of 0.01 Bitcoin or lower. Kind of the easiest way of really explaining it. And a lot of people, when they open up these payment channels, they're opening up simply with like 0.01 Bitcoin. So only 0.01 Bitcoin or less can actually pass through their payment channel, and we need more people willing to put like an entire Bitcoin into an actual payment method, or like a payment channel, because unless prices rise significantly, there aren't many people who are actually sending 0.01 Bitcoin on a daily basis. I think that comes out to, what is it, $35 or something like that. We would need an enormous amount of people. We would need like, typically when we see payments going back and forth, not many people are sending that little back and forth in excess or at a rapid pace. But if we have a Bitcoin of around $100,000, that comes out to $1,000 that are being sent back and forth, and it's a lot more likely that people would be sending less than $1,000 on a daily basis or through their own payments. Because if you buy a jacket that costs like $59.99, it can't go through that payment channel. So I hope that kind of made a bit more sense. A lot of people keep opening up very small payment channels. Like, I get it, that, you know, Bitcoin's a very valuable asset, and not many people want to store away money on the Lightning Network that they may want to potentially use later. But I saw some people opening up payment channels that had like 0.001 Bitcoin, and I was like, that's like $3.50. Like, not many people are going to be sending payments that small until we get a much higher Bitcoin price. And then he also mentioned that they're also going to apparently have atomic swaps on BTCPay later this year. Weird part is that he didn't announce exactly which atomic swaps, but the atomic swap thing is something that we also spoke about a couple of days ago. That's going to definitely be coming to the cryptocurrency space, because we kind of need them, and we will need them a bit more as time goes on. But I thought this was kind of interesting. Lightning Network is being developed rapidly, and I think it's kind of realistically, it's kind of the only way that we have right now to really speed up Bitcoin, like a project that is working and is still actively being developed on, because we also have Liquid, but Liquid promotes itself as something more for like an enterprise use and for exchanges and stuff like that, to be able to send Bitcoin rapidly. Next thing to talk about, this is incredibly important. Altcoins known as Ethereum Noah and Ethereum Classic Vision are reportedly appropriating the private keys of users trying to redeem their allegedly forked coins. The suspected scam was covered in a report sent to Cointelegraph by Guarda Wallet development team on the 11th of January. The official website of the Ethereum Noah project, which doesn't contain a white paper, describes a process that users are supposed to engage in to obtain their ETN. According to the website, the user should first send Ethereum to an address, because of course, why not, and then export the private key and redeem the cryptocurrency using the dedicated online tool. A user on Ethereum Block Explorer Etherscan has commented on the aforementioned address, asserting that the address is engaging in a scam hard fork airdrop after warning, "Don't send anything here." The tool to claim the coins appears to be the clone of a well-known online Ethereum wallet known as MyEtherWallet, featuring the online logo, website title, and page under a different domain. The main difference compared to the original Mu interface is that all the options that let the user choose how to access the wallet are grayed out. The point is, Ethereum, the number 3 coin, I think at the moment that we have right now, is planning on doing a hard fork. There are companies claiming that they are going to give you free cryptocurrencies for your Ethereum, which in itself is not logical. They're telling you to send your Ethereum to an address, and therefore then you will receive your ETN. Just to say this, you're probably not going to be receiving any type of coins. These coins have no reason to exist. Don't fall into the hype. And for those who didn't understand about the exporting the private key, it comes down to, imagine, and I'll put it to you, this is the easiest way. Imagine if there was a website that says, and for clarification and to simplify it, I will use the US dollar. Imagine there was a website that said, send me $5 and I will give you back $15. Just give me the bank account information that you have and give me your password to your bank account and I will send you the money. This is exactly what this entire sentence says. They want you to export your private key to them and send them Ethereum in order to obtain the other forked tokens that they say that they have. These things are probably not real. If you are in cryptocurrency for the long haul, try to pay attention to coins that are already out. Unless you get proper clarification, whenever we have forks and stuff like this, we typically have crypto-wide acceptance that these things are going to be happening. There was a reason why Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash SV, we knew that it was actually going to be a real fork and that people would receive. Typically with forks, you receive the coins without having to export your private keys. Typically, this is how it works. So if anyone has been telling you that you need to send them Ethereum or any other coin in order to get these other coins, that's not how it works. As always, please do your own research. There's so much theft happening in the cryptocurrency space, and it can all be resolved quite easily if people just read into stuff. Don't assume that forks are free money. They are for the people who are scamming you, and people keep falling for this over and over, and it's really weird that so many people don't. Why would someone send you something for free? Think about it that way. Why would you have to send someone $5 in order to be able to receive 15? Yeah, let's move on. Next up, this should come as no surprise to anyone. China has introduced new regulations intended to promote the healthy development of blockchain technology. However, the new law also entitles the Cyberspace Administration of China to supervise node operations as well as to request private information. China's Office of Central Cyberspace Affairs Commission, or the CAC, issued new regulations dubbed the Regulations on the Management of Blockchain Information Services. According to the release, the new law will take full effect on the 15th of February. The regulations paint providers of blockchain information services with a broad brush, defining it as the provision of information services to the public through internet sites and applications based on blockchain technology or systems. For those who didn't realize the wording of that, that could mean a million and one thing. A provision of information services to the public through internet sites and applications based on blockchain technology or systems. That could mean anything. Additionally, blockchain service providers can be an entity or node that provides the blockchain information service to the public, and the organization or organizations that provide technical support for the blockchain information service, end quote. For those who, it says it's somewhere around here. Where's the actual blah, blah, blah? First of all, blockchain service providers will be requested to register their service types, industry fields, names, server address, as well as any changes made to them in the future with the CAC. Are you getting it? This information will be publicly available. In other words, the new law in China makes it illegal for users to download and run Bitcoin's free and publicly available software client because of a blockchain service provider that can be a node that provides the blockchain information service to the public. So what it says in all its glory, if you try to run a node, if you download anything that could be considered blockchain technology, and you run any type of public software, and if you are a blockchain service provider, it can also be a node, you have to send your information to the CAC, which was, where was it? Somewhere around here. I already lost it. Of course I did. Right. You have to register with them. You have to give them your name, your server address, as well as any changes made to them in the future with the CAC. Pretty much, if you are running anything that has to deal with blockchain within China, especially if you are running a node and you have all the blockchain information, you have to register with the Chinese government. Not really much more that I have to say. I'm pretty sure you know exactly how I feel about this situation in many other countries. It's very sad that people are making code illegal. I'm pretty sure a lot of you didn't think that you would ever get to an age where computer code would be considered illegal, or that you would have to register with a government because you were running computer code. But lo and behold, here we are. I had hopes for China that they would kind of get it together. I mean, maybe this is the dystopian beginning of them actually allowing cryptocurrencies all over again. But it feels like that we are moving to a situation where they're trying to make sure that they know everything that's happening, and it's well beyond worrying. But I guess at this point, it's just how the country is. To kind of finish things off, if you will, the popular digital asset exchange known as OKEx has announced that it is now offering Tron margin trading with a 3x leverage. The information was released by the company in its blog post. Here's the actual tweet for it. The trading pairs will now have margin trading for Tron and USDT and Tron and BTC, which are available from a couple days ago, actually. It says at the same time, TRX will now be supported on the OK Piggy Bank as well. This is probably, so the Tron is now margin trading. That's wonderful. What I think is the most interesting about all of this is the OK Piggy Bank. I'll start it off by saying, one, not financial advice. I promise you it's not. Two, please make sure to always do your own research. It's imperative that you know where your money is going and what you're doing with your money. And three, if anyone else out there has used OKEx, please, and I mean this, please let other people know exactly how your experience was. If it was good, if it was bad, if you didn't care for them, if you didn't like the entire process, if it was difficult for you to take your money out, how long did it take for you to put your money in? And also, if you have been using the OK Piggy Bank, to let other people know exactly what it was. So once again, not sponsored. And they have something, OKEx has something called the OK Piggy Bank that I didn't even realize was a thing until a couple of days ago, but this has actually been out for a couple of months. It says the OK Piggy Bank. The OK Piggy Bank. Basically, this is a service that allows the deposit and withdrawal of assets, and that will reward users for storing them there. The service is focused on offering a good user experience and security for the users. The head of operations at OKEx, his name is Andy Cheung, was enthusiastic during the launch and has affirmed that the company is constantly striving to provide greater value. Of course, the assets listed that will be supported on the OK Piggy Bank are Bitcoin, Ethereum, EOS, XRP, Tether, Litecoin, and Ethereum Classic. According to the original announcement, new coins will be added over time. So what this apparently is they give you, from my understanding, free cryptocurrencies based on the crypto that you have with them. It says you get like interest on your crypto that you have stored with them. It says the interest rate of the products will be calculated as follows. The daily interest rate will be equal to 85% of daily margin trading interest received by the company, divided by the total amount of supported coins of all users that day. It says basically you, the user, will receive 85% of the cut, while OKEx will take 15% to cover the operation cost of the service. Users will have their products evenly distributed among them. So it seems like people who are doing margin trading, the money that OKEx would get from this, 100% of it, 85% goes to the actual users who have their money inside of the OKEx piggy bank, and the other 15% goes to OKEx themselves. Like I said, if you've been using this, please let other people know. I think that might be so. This is another thing that makes me realize that Coinbase has no actual point in being around anymore. They may have been the greatest in the very beginning, and this is not me saying that I'm throwing my full support behind OKEx. It's just the fact that we have other things like this that exist, and that it makes crypto a much better place. You essentially, not financial advice, receive free cryptocurrencies for the trading that other people are doing, and you kind of reap the benefits from it. You get 85% of the cuts that OKEx would normally take. I think it's very interesting. I think it's very incredibly cool. I wish other cryptocurrency platforms offered things like this, what have you. So even onto this as well, I assume this was an older article. This is probably why Tron wasn't listed on here, but you can squeeze Tron in over here. Incredibly cool. At least to me, I like things like that. I like the idea of being rewarded for actually using a platform. Anyway, I think that is definitely going to do it for this video. Very weird times in the cryptocurrency, very weird times in the world, economically, politically, financially. Everything is not a mess, but things could always be a bit better. I think I'm just too optimistic about the world, about life. But you all know exactly what I'm talking about. Things don't have to be this difficult. I'm hoping, my overall hope is that we will see a brighter future for cryptocurrencies that begin in 2019. I'm hoping for a bull run. I'm hoping for, with this bull run, that we kind of finally get confirmation from many other countries exactly what they plan on doing with cryptocurrencies, how they plan on dealing with them. Hopefully, India really gets it together. It's very sad that we have to go through all of this, but once again, growing pains. Hopefully, crypto's future is a lot brighter because of these things. Hopefully, in the future, it's the same exact way where we had the other decentralized exchanges that were getting hacked, and the other decentralized exchanges that were being like sending like subpoenas and stuff like that to the people who were creating these things. We learned from our mistakes, and especially in the cryptocurrency space, we learned how to get around these things and to make crypto stronger for hopefully a better financial future. Alrighty, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. I do appreciate all of your support. And yeah, I'll talk to you all soon. See you.